What's up, everybody? Welcome back into the shed. I'm JP Bedell, and this is Delivered Lumens. I realized that I jumped right into lighting content on this channel, and I didn't really get a chance to talk about what is Delivered Lumens, who is JP Bedell, and why should you pay any attention to anything on this channel. And so that's what this video is all about. This is going to be a very quick history on me, and then a little bit of a discussion about what this channel is and what you can expect here. So, Delivered Lumens is my ID across Instagram, LinkedIn, here on YouTube. It is where you can find lighting content, and we're going to talk about the evolution of that content. I started off my interest in my career in theatrical lighting. I was a theater kid in high school. I was the kid that was building sets and making cars and making it snow, and that eventually led to theatrical lighting. And since I grew up here in New York City, it led to New York City theatrical lighting. Specifically, I was doing a lot of off and off-Broadway shows, concerts, plays, tiny little theaters in Brooklyn and in Manhattan, just making things happen. Some big productions, some small productions, but it's where I fell in love with light. Eventually, that love of light needed to actually turn into making a little bit of money, and so I started lighting corporate events. So I did brand activations, corporate events, media events for lots of different companies, but brand activations for companies like Diet Coke. Eventually I worked for companies like Condé Nast, where we did big installations, multi-brand installations. This one happened to be in Times Square. That's where I started to take the theatrical skills I had learned and worked on for a few years and bring them into the corporate world. Eventually, even that world proved to not be super stable, and I wanted to explore something new, and that's how I got into architectural lighting. My first job in architectural lighting, I will forever be grateful to Matt Tershwell of Tershwell Architectural Lighting, who gave me a chance because I didn't know anything about it. And I got to work on tons of residential projects, but also commercial work like the NBC Universal Media Center and Rockefeller Plaza. This is some of the work that I did on that job. Much easier to accomplish these effects now with the current gear than it was back when I was doing this. Eventually, the 2007-2008 recession was bearing down, and so I ended up changing jobs, and I worked for a few years for Abercrombie & Fitch, where I worked under their head of lighting design. It was a department of 2 at the time, eventually department of 3. And I got to light stores all around the world. So I got to work in Milan and Tokyo and London, Paris. It was just a really cool job for somebody who was able to travel at the time and experience the world. And I got to light all kinds of different activations and see what it is to do global retail. After that, I decided that it was time to move from the design side to the sales side. So this was a big jump for me, and I couldn't be happier with what I ended up doing. In my job at SDA, I have been exposed to and work with some of the best lighting designers in the world, and I get to help them make what they make and do what they do. So it's more than just showing product. It's also talking about design details, helping them figure out how they're going to work through some of these wicked problems that sometimes come up on jobs. It's also afforded me a lot of freedom within the industry to connect to like-minded people and to grow my own network and to help others accomplish the goals that they have. And so a couple of examples of that would be the Green Lighting Alliance, where I've worked with the team there to bring in more brands into that project, which is going to be an upcoming episode, and I can't wait to get them on here to talk about what the GLA is doing and what the goals are for the future of sustainability in lighting. I'm also the industry advisor to the Light and Health Research Center, which is coupled with Mount Sinai, and I couldn't be more proud of the work they're doing to advance the science of light, not just for, I think they get pegged a lot for circadian health, but also for work in traffic safety and work in healing in patient rooms and all of the other avenues that they have explored in terms of how light affects mental health, how light affects physical health day to day, and even topics like equity. So you're going to see more from the Light and Health Research Center on this channel. Which kind of brings us back to what is Delivered Lumens? Well, Delivered Lumens started as a blog. I started it in 2019, a full year before the pandemic. And the idea was I have so many brands that I get to work with, so many brands I'm proud to represent, but I haven't been able to get every single one of them in front of my specifiers. There's just not enough appointments in the year. So I wanted to start a way of discussing product with them. This feeds into a mailing list. You can absolutely subscribe to that mailing list if you'd like to get the emails. I'd appreciate it if you did. And that turned into this way of talking about products in an email format. Then, well, we all know what happened in 2020 in March when, of course, the world shut down and we went to remote work due to the pandemic. And so I already had the infrastructure of Delivered Lumens built out. So what I decided to do is pivot from more email-based product demonstrations and discussions into more video. We're not going to watch video of me on a video of me. That's a little redacted. It's a little redundant, but what you can see here is just some of the work that I did with, this is with Felix Lighting. The point of all this is not to bore you with another video of me in a video of me. The idea instead is to just demonstrate that this is how I got into this shed. The shed was a space that I could make dark for lighting demonstrations. I could build out little cove details or false ceilings and install fixtures for product demos. And I spent a lot of time in 2020 and the early part of 2021 in here. But I was speaking earlier about the way in which my job offers me a lot of freedom and flexibility. I've spoken at Education twice, which is a major trade show here in New York for the lighting industry. I've spoken at Light Fair once. And just this past summer, I spoke at the annual IES conference. And what came up in the IES conference was this idea that, and what I was speaking about at the IES conference was our need as an industry to speak beyond the people that we always talk to. Lighting people talk to other lighting people. And we've convinced ourselves of the value of light, and we talk about the value of light day in and day out. But it's the folks that work at the hospitals, at the school groups. It's the folks that are paying the bills to build advanced office spaces or even high-end homes or multifamily residential units where we need to imbue the quality and the value of light to those folks so that light is more invested in. People are living and working in better lighting conditions because so often it's what happens after a value engineering process or lowest bidder sort of mentality. And that's not what I want to see. And so the evolution of Delivered Lumens is what you're here, or is what you're experiencing now, which is creation of topics that, or videos around topics that are a bit more in depth about what light can be, what the value of light is, and how it's going to affect everything and every other design aspect that we work on. You'll see more about that as you subscribe to the channel. Please hit that button now. If you like and subscribe, or head to the website and subscribe to the newsletter, you will get every episode of Delivered Lumens delivered directly to your inbox. The goal is not just this YouTube channel, but eventually taking that audio from the YouTube feed, turning it into a podcast so you can listen on your drive. Just trying to make this a way to imbue the value of light into every other aspect of design because it's so important. Going to be key concepts like how to execute down lighting and cove lighting and ambient light the right way, how to do daylighting the right way. Sustainability, what does that mean for the future of the lighting industry? What does it mean for how we design these spaces? Light and health equity, right? So why is it that only the top 1% of projects get great light and the spaces that people spend so much time in? I'm thinking about schools and hospitals. I'm thinking about public transit, the places where people spend a lot of time. Even workplaces are lit so poorly. We can do better than what we're doing now. And then trends for the future. So what's coming next? What's coming next in technology? What's coming next in fixture design? Where is this going to move our physical spaces, and how is it going to work? If you made it this far, I really appreciate it. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Join me as we start to talk about what light can do for every other aspect of design, whether you're an interior designer, an architect, an engineer, whether you design hospitals or work in a hospital, work in a school. Light can touch every single thing that we do. And once you get infected with this bug of lighting like I did when I was 17 years old, you'll never let it go.